Welcome everybody to this new live mentalism conversation. And today we have a great and interesting guest that always, when I read his ideas and his comments in various different places, I truly find a brother in the mysteries and someone that I wanted to invite here. And this is the moment. So please, a virtual applause to Elias Staunmacher. How are you, Elias?
I'm fantastic, Pablo. Thank you so much. It's a genuine honor to be here with you. I love the work that you do and the passion that you put into, this art form and this craft. And especially considering the company I'm now in with the other people who are here, I'm deeply honored. Thank you very much, brother.
Yeah, welcome, Elias. So it's very important in my experience as a performer and as a person to be connected with the intuitive feelings and deeper aspects of the mind. And I just recently was aware that you were not part of the live mentalism conversation. I say, oh, why not? Elias is one is one of the guys. So first of all, Elias, if anyone doesn't know who Elias is, who Elias is? Who is Elias?
I am I'm an agent of the universe. I guess to give you the traditional origin story, which is necessary in myth. My first encounter with the enchantment of mystery was when I was about 6 years old, and my father is a very proper German man. He's always prompt, and this was a Saturday morning, and he was, as usual, up before everybody else. He's one of those people that doesn't need an alarm clock. He has that mental alarm clock that we all have if we use it. And he was up by himself, just enjoying the morning and in his robe, sipping some coffee. And I think we were going to be going out or something, so I got up early that morning, and I was a sneaky little kid, so I always try to sneak up on him. We played jokes with each other often. So I kind of peeked into the kitchen, and I saw him there just sitting, minding his business, and he picked it. Now, my father, I have since learned, has the peripheral vision of an eagle. I mean, it's incredible how aware he is, but he didn't let on, and that he knew that I was watching him, and he had a tissue, and he kind of started picking his nose with it. And I was giggling, and I was about to jump out and embarrass him and say, "Hi, I caught you." And in that moment, he crumpled up the tissue.
Ooh, yeah.
And continued to drink his coffee.
Beautiful.
And I fell immediately into it. The bug bit me, and it's been a lifelong passion ever since. So in that moment, with a rubber band and some creativity, and most importantly, the element of surprise, that started my entire journey down the path of mystery entertainment. And along that path, I initially thought I was going to have a career in psychology, and I went to school for that. I pursued that. Immediately after high school, and in college, I was very much involved in theater and theatrics in general, whether it be magical or otherwise, because I find that all theater is magical. If it's cinema, if it's written, if it contains overt magic or not, it transports us, and that's magical. So I got very much involved in traditional plays and stagecraft, and I enjoyed that very much. And then I made a practical decision to get involved in sales, in actually sales of like equity stocks, things like that, which was quite lucrative, as you can imagine, but it was, for me, just utterly soulless. And even though it was something that I found I was skilled at, just in speaking to people over the phone and developing a rapport and so forth, but it meant nothing to me. And I walked away from it, which was a decision a lot of people questioned. And I went back to school for psychology. And at the time, I was also fortunate enough to know several people who liked to throw dinner parties, house parties, things like that. And I started to get hired for entertainment in their parties, and it was successful enough that they were kind enough to pass along the word of mouth. And I live on Long Island in New York, so between New York City and then out here on Long Island, for many years I performed just privately for intimate audiences, which is my favorite environment. I very much like to remember that element of surprise and be the mysterious stranger that visits, and not that you think, wow, that person could do amazing things, but wow, we all did amazing things while that person was with us.
Yeah.
And to think about these things afterwards, because it's the simple mechanics of doing something that is puzzling or seemingly impossible is entertaining. And it certainly is, but when it can be another level of working long after that moment is over. Yeah. I remember when I was young and I was into theatrical magic, David Copperfield did his flying illusion, which to me just carried so much beautiful symbolism in it. You know, and in and of itself, it is what it is, but it's what it conveyed and what that image conveyed and the theater behind it that mattered. And it's why I think I and a lot of other people found it very, very moving and find the things that he does moving. But I eventually did move into mentalism, more specifically, and also bizarre and storytelling magic, which has always fascinated me. You know, things that are authentically unique, and strange, intriguing, and make you ask questions have always fascinated me, whether I'm performing with them or not. But I you know, as Anneman said, mentalism is the grown-up form of magic. Although magic is for grown-ups too, as we know. But so I moved towards mentalism, and trying to have these more undefined experiences. That my goal, honestly, was that if somebody was to try and explain what happened at the party, they would kind of be like, well, we hired like sort of a magician, but then he did things that were not magic tricks. Like you know, for example, I know you have a love of pendulums, and I have to thank you, because it was it's you and people like Richard Webster that and others that really awakened me to the power of pendulums, Luca Volpe, and that I actually, just like Richard, I carry a pendulum with me.
Yeah.
And this is something I used to perform quite a bit at, like Renaissance festivals, medieval festivals, things like that, where you could really just live in that moment and get fully immersed. But this particular, hopefully it translates on camera, this particular ring has inscriptions on the outside and on the inside.
Beautiful.
And it's designed in such a way that if you align a hole here with the month that you're in and you face north, a light shines through and tells you exactly what time it is.
Wow.
Which is whoever came up with the concept, brilliant.
Yeah.
But to me, it made a really beautiful metaphorical reminder that this great machine that we are somehow a small, tiny part of that's revolving around can be reduced and symbolized and actually become meaningful within this tiny circle.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it can act as a pendulum, which, as you've so artfully expressed, is it's the mental becoming physical. It is abracadabra, you know. So that was the world that I lived in, doing a lot of private parties for a long time, and then somewhere in my 30s, I got away from it. I went through something of a dark night of the soul, if you will, and to put it in Joseph Campbell terms, and I got away from that part of my life, and eventually was able to get into a healthier state, and return to it. And I started tutoring, and I tutor a number of subjects for school, but I started tutoring specifically magic and mentalism. And I particularly enjoy working with younger people, simply not because I think I have the right answer, or the way. There is no one way, obviously, but simply because I've just spent all that money already. I've seen a fairly wide array, and if they have a sense of what they're trying to achieve, if they're truly bit by the bug, and you just can't help yourself, you need to express yourself through mystery, especially now in this very commercial environment. And I understand everybody needs to make a living, but it can be very difficult to sort out what is valuable to you as an individual.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing I try to focus on with the people that I work with, is allowing your individuality to shine. That must come first. It's not, this is a cool effect. How can I make the whole world come together so that I can perform it?
Yeah.
Rather than what is inside of me and in my world, and how those two interact, and how do I feel, and then how can I use this craft to heighten that message? And that in my experience, and I think most everyone, is when it's authentic like that, is when it's meaningful. And so I also recently started, I threw away all of my old performance material. I quite literally, in a ritual, burned my old scripts, which was very cleansing, and started fresh. And I actually created what I thought was a very well textured and polished enough that it would deliver the experience, the shared experience that I wanted to live show around storytelling. And this Pythagoras once said that a thought is just an idea in transit. And that got me thinking.
Beautiful.
And you ask, well, can a thought exist outside of the head, where we consider the mind to be for some reason? Most people will say, well, no, of course not. But if you think, anytime you read a book, you're reading someone's mind. So it gets a fresh perspective on just how common the miraculous really is. And that idea of story and the power of the words that we speak and the stories that we tell each other. And then the idea of live performance went right out the window at the beginning, of this year, like it did for most people. And I remember the virtual mentalism convention that Luca Volpe put together, and I don't know how he just didn't sleep for an entire weekend. It was amazing what he was able to put together, and the contributions that everyone made, including yourself. I was familiar with the pendulum piece that you showed already from Neil Scryer's work, and I loved it then. But that whole experience, on top of the individual things, the individual people's time, which literally everyone was so engaging. But the overall takeaway for me, at least, was this, and at the time it was desperately needed, the sense of community, of being genuinely connected with other people. I remember at that time in New York, the virus was particularly terrible, as it was in many other places. But that weekend was like a little getaway. It was like a little bubble. And it clicked in my mind that this new world that we're in, where we're going to be for a long time, likely for decades, not because of the virus, but communicating in this way that we are now, through a camera. Which at first is strange, but we proved on that weekend, and it's proved all the time, teachers prove it every day, that we can connect through this space. We do it all the time. We connect through time and space. So this particular time, when the world in general kind of feels like they have everything figured out and there's no real mystery or uncertainty left. Everyone's very big on certainty right now. I'm very big on uncertainty. I find I find uncertainty to be delightful because it brings possibility. But also this environment where people, for the time being, are restricted from being together physically in many places. But even when this is over, this world has become one room. We can all share as if we are together. And it seemed unlikely at first, and it was a big adjustment, and it continues to be an adjustment for this art form, for mentalism in particular. Because magic, you can perform visually, and you watch the show, basically. But mentalism is inherently interactive, and must be. It does not exist without the participant.
Yeah.
You know, it's why it's so hard to rehearse. But that connection can be made in a personal way, not in a very surface way, not adapting certain things to this new format in a flimsy way. And I think a lot of mystery artists have already caught on to this and are already leading the way and pioneering. But I think we're going to find that this medium, and I've since translated now, starting next month, I'm going to have 2 virtual experiences. One that's kind of more family friendly and one that's more adult and serious. But that are interactive, where you receive things by email beforehand that you print out, and that you're going to use a diagram for your pendulum and many things. And these things will all happen in their living room. It will not happen on my end of the screen. I'm just there to kind of really just watch and have fun. And they discover these miraculous things that can happen in their lives, and experience things, you know, where they can know what another stranger was thinking about and not fully understand why, and maybe just question it. How is that possible? What is possible? And I've always found that I'm not even a believer. I know that magic is real, is as real gets.
Because it's reality in a way.
100% is not everything magical.
Exactly. And it's so, in a way, I sense that mystery is so ordinary. No, sorry, it's so extraordinary that becomes ordinary, and we don't realize that is reality. And we are performing in a way enhanced reality. We are not pretending, because that's the only thing real, maybe.
That is the truth, I believe. And that's, for me, that's what's so enthralling about this craft. And especially, you know, I think you asked, I don't remember who it was, but why there is this sudden, well, not really sudden, but this growing interest in mentalism, and also why people perceive that mentalism is easy. And I remember Max Maven said, very, very observantly, mentalism is easy to do, badly.
Yeah.
Which I've learned through so much experience. And but when it's done authentically, and that when it's done without ego, and that to me is the biggest hurdle to get over, between, you know, what Luc Germain says, you know, the things that people will, I applaud the successful completion of your pre-planned novelty. You know, it becomes just social kind of grace, and they may even be entertained, puzzled, or even fooled, but they will not have drawn in a gasp of air in awe and been genuinely surprised unless the things that we are doing represent something that is more resonant than I knew this ahead of time, I knew it while you were thinking it, whatever the case may be. It's the why, it's the meaning, and that meaning is what is, and I think Jordan Peterson observed this very clearly, and as did, gosh, I can't remember his name, Dr. Viktor Frankl, Man in Search of Meaning. Our age, because of the larger collapse of spiritual structures and importance in life, there's a vacuum now of meaning. Many people now, especially, are just going through the motions, and they reach a certain point in their life where they really look back and they go, what am I doing? Why am I doing any of this? And that's this midlife crisis that happens. Instead of a midlife joy and a renewal, there's this sudden realization that, oh my goodness, it's like I've been sleeping. And that meaning is already there as far as I'm concerned. We don't need to construct it. We don't need to, erect some new glorious structure to provide meaning. The meaning is inherent in our existence. And this art form, I believe, more than any other, maybe not more, but particularly, is very well suited to reminding people of the true mystery that surrounds us all the time. I truly think this is, it's very popular to be cynical these days, because it's easier. It's easier to point out flaws in things than to be hopeful, or to say this is an opportunity. This looks like a cataclysm, but this is an opportunity. And this is something that, again, I genuinely applaud you for. Through the Mentalism Center, you offer content that's not only useful in a way that satisfies. We all have this wonderful love of secrets and learning new techniques and new things, and we love to learn, but also in you consistently, and others like your mentor Kenton and many others push this importance of the meaning, that what we do is rooted far outside the mystery arts. And that's something I've been delighted. I've heard it several times in the conversations that you've had. And I know you have a very wide array of interests. You're a very well-read man, clearly. And that's just nutrition for life, whatever you're going to do. I mean, just for general conversation. Because if you're sitting across from somebody, whether you're performing mentalism or not, life is precious. What do you want to talk about?
Beautiful, yes. And you don't know it, and the audience that we watch the video don't know it, but I will let them know and let you know that you read my mind like 2 minutes ago, for real, for real. When you were talking about meaning, I remember one of my understandings of the meaning as this value that we don't create, but we observe. And when that idea came to mind, you said, so let me tell you that you read my mind. So with this notion, because yeah, for real, with this notion that meaning is already there, so we don't need to add it. Sometimes when we talk about meaning for performances, I feel that some people think that, okay, so now I need to add an extra story. Now I need to say that the playing cards, and I need to do a dissertation of 5 minutes to add meaning, right? So if we understand meaning as something inherent in any symbol or in any action, how can we observe it deeper?
How can we observe it deeper? Well, that's a good question. I think that, first of all, for the lay public, I think just making them aware. For example, that moment that just happened between us, which was genuine, that happened and mystery performers constantly comment on this. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
And that's because this existence is magical. And that's something that I think more thoughtful people who are more prone to introspection and to rumination and just to consideration, maybe reach ahead of people who might not either be prone to that kind of introspective thinking, or maybe don't have time for it because they're simply trying to manage life and family and such. So just, I think a lot of people are so detached from it that just by bringing up examples, because I think everyone knows examples of things like that happening. You know, for example, like the great Bob Cassidy, may he haunt us forever. He, you know, would use a couple for a very famous routine, and he would say often when two people who have been in a relationship of any kind for a long time are asked to think of two different things, a lot of times those things are related. And that's just the truth, because that's the magic that somehow we can sync up with each other. We can share mental space. You know, we are connected right now because of the wonder of electricity, among other things. But the electricity we use to light our homes and so forth, to conquer the night and to communicate now and make the world one room, that ability is because of the AC electric generator. And that device, it's a mechanical engineering device, but that appeared, and this is truth, that appeared mystically to its inventor, Nikola Tesla, complete. And he insisted that all his many inventions, radio and so many others that we take for granted, X-rays, they just came out of the ether to him. What our shared hero Jung would call the collective unconscious. I think that these ideas are very foreign to the vast majority of modern people. So I think, for me at least, more than a question of deepening, I mean, we can, as performers or guides or even therapists, whatever the case may be, we can always, and that's the beauty of it, we can always deepen our own connection with mystery through simply revisiting it and going through the spiral on a different level. You know, that's a beautiful thing about the tarot. You can just continue around that spiral forever and always find new things and new meaning. It's amazing. It reminds me of the band Pink Floyd, very famously has a fantastic album, legendary album, Dark Side of the Moon. And for some mysterious reason, it lines up flawlessly with The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
But then the movie will continue playing and the album will repeat, and now new parts of the songs line up with new parts of the movie. And it's like, what kind of divine force created this?
Yeah.
And that's for us, the people who try to help turn people back towards that inherent mystery. We can always deepen our connection. But I think right now, for the people we're sharing with, and for the people who participate and help us create these once in a lifetime, always tell your friends about experiences, we can do that simply by showing people these things and accentuating these truths with theater.
Yeah, exactly. And with those ideas, Elias, that idea of our audience, in a way, are children. And I don't mean by age, but I mean by maturity of the mind. And I love this notion of giving milk to children, giving meat to adults, in the metaphysical sense of the depth of our performance. We can't feel that we are the illuminated ones, that we know the mysteries and we will educate people, and people, we don't get it and we don't care. And I sense that the trickster archetype that we have in our role as a mystery performer is the one that invites people to, okay, watch this, okay? So I have a spoon in here, watch. Now reality bends, right?
Right.
So we are inviting childs in the mind, in the maturity, to enjoy some games, to experience a moment of mystery that allows them to not just experience this feeling of mystery, but a state of mystery. And what is beautiful about mystery is that it's not just a feeling. Some typologies of emotions understand mystery as something that we feel, and obviously is a feeling because we felt that in our body, in our being, whatever that means. But
Right.
mystery also can be this transcendental invitation to say, the mystery doesn't end here. This is the performance of mystery. I am dramatizing some things and enhancing some aspects, but go outside. Outside is mysterious. Open your eyes, watch deeper, right? So that's why I feel that meaning is our ultimate observation in what we do. And in my understanding of performance, I observe a tree, right? So the tree has the roots, the trunk, the foliage, and the fruits. And the foliage for me is the performance in itself, the interaction, the dramatic structure, the beginning, the end, the tada moment. Yeah, fantastic. But the fruit is, as you said at the beginning of this conversation, that nutritious factor, that meaning, that authenticity of expression that we can reach. And in that way, yes, the phenomenon of mentalism is interesting. We are reading minds, yes, but the why is in the fruits. And we can say that, yes, we are reading minds, but that's because the connection of we can create. Or maybe we are predicting something, a decision, or maybe a selection, whatever. And yeah, we are predicting this. I am predicting, yeah, but why? That's the focus. Maybe I am focusing about the potential meaning of projecting our vision, the power of imagination, and maybe how can we focus into our mind and in a particular image, and maybe we can reach that if we have our intention. So now the prediction is not about the prediction rate. It's about this potential fruit, this meaning that we found in our own study with this piece. And now I allow this piece to talk to me, right? So now let's say that I learned a new billet technique and I love it. It's so practical, so whatever, okay? So now I observe my possibility. Now I can ask someone to write a thought and I can know it. Wow, right? That's a huge opportunity. But it's an opportunity, it's potential, but it's nothing if I don't do my work. And I feel that my work in terms of the foliage of the performance is to rehearse, to practice, to know my script, to know each moment, how I camouflage my technique, so on. But the fruits is this focus of, okay, this is my opportunity. What is this opportunity saying to me? Okay, so I can use the name of a loved one. I can ask for the name of the pet. I can ask for the name of any food, zodiac sign. So many possibilities, but I need to choose why this one. Maybe during this pandemic, I will ask someone to focus into a word that will be his word during these difficult situations, right? So let's say that the participant focus into community, as you said, right? So he feels community as something needed and he will use Facebook and everything to connect with you. So now this experience is not about revealing a word, it's about focusing into community in a mystery way. So people say, yeah, community is important, and they can associate even the importance of that valuable insight with the performance. And they can, and in a way, we can use awe, as you said, as a catalyst, as a bridge towards the deeper aspects, right? And I read a paper some years ago about positive psychology and the studies of awe and astonishment, right? And there's a great studies in psychology about that. And there's a particular paper that I read that they use awe experience as therapy. And they did two groups, right? A control study without the all experience, and other people that they went into a hill and they observe the sun coming up, right? Maybe they have like a spiritual practice or meditation, so on. And they compare both groups and they realize that the all experience was a great factor that allows healing, that allows the psychotherapy, right? So we have this beautiful opportunity to learn our craft, to enjoy the conversations in our community. And we also have the opportunity, if we want to perform, because I know that some people don't like to perform, but if we want to perform or we like to perform with meaning. Don't just perform. Don't just you do magic, don't just do mentalism. Observe the meaning because it's already there. But sometimes our mind understands mentalism or magic something detached of meaning, but it's there. And the invitation is to observe it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that the metaphor of the tree is particularly beautiful and apt. And those, as you describe our presentations as the leaves that have come out of those branches, that's the environment, that's what's gathering up the sunlight to translate it into the fruit, which I'm sure you've already thought of. And so this fruit grows long after we're gone, and that's the most beautiful part. And that, like you said, that awe experience, like I think tremendous fan of Paul Harris and his work and his just approach to what he wonderfully called the art of astonishment. And some of the things that, particularly like some of the things that David Blaine has adapted from him, where he did with the leaf. I mean, that is, as I think it was Tomek said, it transcends language. It transcends all cultural barriers. Yeah. It simply explains itself.
Yeah, it's like shamanic, has this sense that I imagine a shaman in the Amazon taking a leaf, breaking it, and then heal it, right? For maybe the group, maybe like in a ritual. It's magic in the sense that we need to strive in every performance.
Absolutely. And that moment of wonder is a mind state, as you just said, that allows for amazing things to come in and for amazing leaps of growth and insight to be made, and for people to fall deeper in love, or even maybe back in love with life. Because I think, for a lot of people right now, it's hard to be in love with life in particular. And in general, I mean, life is challenging. But, and really the only reason it's worth doing all of this is because we are surrounded by wonder. And our very existence is truly miraculous. And the things we can experience, the moments we can experience where we read our wife's mind, or we just share a sunset or a sunrise together, and you just have, like you said, that total state of being, of just feeling harmonious.
Yeah.
And that's magic.
Yeah. And what is beautiful about the tarot, as you said that in the beginning of our conversation, that is so beautiful and depth for our own work as well, and understanding of what we do. So if we observe the key 0 and key 1, right, the Fool and the Magician, in a way that two cards are the progress and the possibilities that we have in mystery performance, because in a way the Fool is the Jungian trickster, and the Magician obviously is the Magi, right, the one that understands the mysteries and is a channel of correspondence and so on. So I think that you said beautifully about also our mission in Mentalism Center is to offer great material and commercial things. Of course, that's part of the trickster, right? And we need it as a technical tool. But we need to always remember that this is just the path. This is not the goal. And I know that for many people that are watching this, maybe, and certainly each one of us is in his own path and is go for it and embrace it. But remember that this is not just about tricks. we have our techniques, the secrets, and knowing something is great, right? I know something that other people don't know. Yeah, fine. But why? What are you doing with this? You are just wanting to strengthen your ego? Maybe at the beginning, go for it. But remember that this can't be the only thing, right? We need to learn, but most importantly, we need to unlearn, to take those techniques and place them into our unconscious, and that only came from rehearsal. So that's why in Mentalism Center, I am so compromised with both rehearsal and practice, because sometimes we just practice the move and the script, whatever. But the rehearsal is performance without audience.
Exactly.
So performance becomes rehearsal with audience.
Mm-hmm.
And what is beautiful is that we can even do rehearsal in our minds, because our mind is so powerful that we can imagine. And I can imagine that I am again with my audience in my stage, and I am very grateful for that. And now I take my prop or my pendulum or whatever, and I'm rehearsing. So the power that we have to do something that is even beyond beauty, because yeah, art is beauty, and art is so fantastic, and we can create art with mentalism, with mystery performance. But I believe that mystery performance can be even more than, or push art into healing, into connecting, into our deeper roots. And in, well, all arts came from the shamanic journeys, and they go into the caves and go into these experiences in which we experience the mysteries. And the shaman that went to the village, and he told stories, he did games, he did healing, and in a way that's our role even today, right? Is to remind people through games, through maybe colors or maybe stones or cards, that life, as you said, is valuable and it's beautiful because it's mysterious. And this mystery doesn't end here. This is just the beginning, right? The performance is the beginning and the end of something, but also allows us to create something new, right? And what is that new? Maybe the possibility of people to really open his or her own eyes into the gratitude, right? As you said, mystery is maybe this openness that allows you to enjoy mystery. So in a way, it's very cyclical and beautiful in itself, because we create mystery for someone and we say, now watch the world, because the world is mysterious, and have fun and do good and try to not do bad and enjoy, right? So that understanding of the mystery performance as the meaning itself is also beautiful. So the invitation for everyone and for us as well is to continue this exploration and to have fun and to never allow our performance to be rejected by boredom, right? Sometimes we can feel that, oh, adding meaning is so boring and we need to talk, right? No, it's not about that. It's about having fun. It's about having a deeper entertainment that just losing time, right? We can create beautiful, fun dynamics, interesting dynamics, but they can contain camouflaged some aspects of what we feel as true enough, right? So sometimes when I perform, maybe I'm doing something very casual, very procedural, but I stop and in a way I camouflage some mystery of the mind, right? So for example, where I can start my spoon bending I have in my hand, and I can say to my participant, because all reality is mental, we just imagine that, and I just say it, right? And if someone is sensitive enough, yeah, he knows, right? But for other people, it's just a line that sounds poetic, right? This kind of a script. But if we study, if we appreciate all the possibilities that we have, as you said, we have this beautiful opportunity to share a moment that can be great fun and also can be a transformation. Who knows, right? And I don't think that our role is to transform people, but is to facilitate transformation. If they feel like it, if they are waiting for it, right? It's their choice. I am not one to push nothing, right? it's my truth, it's my experience, and I am sharing that, my experience, my authenticity. And if someone doesn't like it, great, because I am not doing also for social agreement of acceptation. I am doing because I feel that this is what I need to do, right? And what is beautiful about that natural action is that in a way I don't need motivation, because it's not driven by motivation. Of course, I can motivate myself and read and whatever, but it's something that is so inherently natural and flowing that I cannot not do it, right? Because who am I or what I am doing if I'm not doing it, right? And if in some day in my life I can't do it, I need to find another meaning, because I can't live a meaningless life, because it's the meaningless that I am observing, because the meaning is there. I need to watch and I need to search and I need to explore it, right? So I feel that we have this blessing, this opportunity of sharing something so unique, right? And with people we can create conversation, maybe we can tell jokes, but who can say that can read minds, right? And sometimes with this mainstream marketplace of so many releases and so many times a week, we lose the center of our opportunities of experiences with something so basic as the most common books in mentalism, and some of them are really free, right? Do this copyright free? Yeah, the Jinx. Yeah, we can find so many sources that are free. We don't need money. We need time.
Spend years buried in the Jinx.
Exactly, right? And we can find the experiences that we can bring into 2020 and still facilitate mystery, because mystery is something that goes beyond time. It's a sense of humanness. And if we don't experience mystery, the life becomes something so monotone, so plain, so out of the beauty, right? So we need to go deeper, we need to study, we need to have fun, we need to understand that our techniques and our trickster goes beyond and goes to the magician, and then finally obviously to the world, but embracing that possibility of focusing people. And what you said about David Blaine is beautiful. One of his most powerful and beautiful lines that I love is, look, watch. That's pure focus, right? Look, watch, right? We are exactly, we are so distracted that we don't look, watch. And maybe that's the only script that we need with a coin manage. Look, watch.
True. Inviting people into the moment where we spend so little time.
Exactly. So I think that our role is meaningful entertainment, if we want to call it like that, right? Yeah, we need to have this excuse of entertainment. We need to be theatrical, we need to create and polish our charisma, so we are a bridge and not a wall, right? Because sometimes we are the wall of the mystery experience. We try to do it and we try it so hard that becomes something weird, right? No, know yourself, be yourself, love yourself, so you are comfortable with yourself. And even if we are a little bit weird, that I'm sure that everyone in the Mentalism magician, we are a little weird.
I hope so.
Of course, but we need to embrace. Who wants an
average wizard?
Of course, we need to embrace that weirdness, that practical joke, right? As with your beautiful story in your childhood. I reflect about this, I think yesterday, that most magic shops are also practical jokes and gags shops, right? And that's very interesting, because the trickster is also the one that can become the sacred trickster. The understanding of the jokes and doing something surprising and funny can be also channeled to mystery.
Sure. Just like Merlin for King Arthur. Throughout his entire life, Merlin appeared to him in different disguises.
Yeah.
And that trickster sometimes, and it was always, and this is a great lesson for constructing a mystery experience, it's well textured. It's not the same tone, or it's not always serious, or it's not always funny, or it's not always anything. It's constantly evolving. So sometimes he would appear and play a joke on him and be a true trickster, and other times he would appear as the wise old man and deliver true wisdom. But always there was a purpose. Always there was that subtext that we've been talking about. And that, just like you said, that's how the trickster becomes the sacred trickster. Exactly. And that's our role. That's what we are called in our heart to do, because, you know, to get involved with this, I think the vast majority of people, whether they're able to express it or not, because it's very difficult to express, but they have that feeling inside. They know that this resonates with them, but they don't know how to necessarily make it feel like it's right for them, rather than they're putting on a mask of somebody else that they've seen or, you know, even admire. And that, you know, you mentioned that state of maturity regardless of age. And I think even, you know, for our society as a whole, it's very interesting, the macrocosm, microcosm on every level, but society as a whole kind of ages as an individual. And we are kind of collectively getting into a new phase. And as performers, we start out, like you said, you want to have that, you know, many of us, and I know certainly for myself, the case was when I was young, I was a misfit. I didn't really, you know, fit in with the crowd. And a lot of people who feel that way, and who feel that that's a weakness, instead of embracing it as just a gift and part of the wonderful spectrum of humanity that other people love. So you want to initially have that power, have something that makes you special, so that you don't feel that you're looking up to people. Now other people are looking up to you. But no matter the age, and I found this can happen quite young, mystery performers who are ready can reach a balance where they meet people equally, just as co-human beings, celebrating. And it can be absolutely, even things that are the most profound are usually the things that make you laugh the most, with the ecstasy of life. You know, when you see a sign in nature and life, when the universe speaks to us, that's not a moment where you go, wow, I've got to really think about that. That's where you go, wow, this is incredible. You know, it is a moment of divine joy.
Exactly.
And play.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's very easy for us to take ourselves far too seriously.
Yeah. Every sacred and profound mystery has a very funny joke inside. And every very funny joke inside has a great mystery. And I think that we need to embrace that non-dual and polarity sense of how can we constantly create this dialectic in between the sacred trickster and the trickster, and to use these games, right? Okay, think of a card. Okay, watch one of these symbols. Keep one of them in mind. Okay, now watch me. Look at deeply. Okay, imagine. Right? So we are using these techniques and technologies and secrets in order to create mystery, because secret is not the same as a mystery. Secret Absolutely. Is something that, I quote Terence McKenna a few weeks at the quote of the week and Mentalism, that a secret is not something that we just don't know. It's maybe something that we never know. And that's beautiful, because that alludes to mystery. Because again, mystery is not a puzzle. A puzzle invites for a deconstruction, a reverse engineer. Now I get it. Okay, fine, I get it. He read the paper or whatever, right? No, we need to find a space in which we can create the experience of mystery. And if we focus into the technique or into the billet, the card, whatever, most probably people will focus into that, because the universe is mind, right? So we need to focus into what we want to people to focus. And if I want to focus into the narrative, into the script, the interaction, the experience, that will be the focus. And in a way, it's very counterintuitive, because I have seen some magicians and mentalists that they don't have great technique, right? Yes, they do like false transfer like this, right? And it's weird.
Right.
But for me, it's amazing to watch the audience, watch them, because, for example, I have a very close friend who's a magician, and he doesn't have a great sleight of hand, but he creates fantastic magic. And when I start to observe that, I understand why. It's because he is focused into the magic. And in a way, he doesn't care about this, but he cares about that when the coin disappears. And he plays like the face to create mirroring for the audience and basically to educate themselves how to react. And people say, oh, because it's a shared moment of mind collectiveness, right? So as you said, when we read a book, we are reading the mind of the author. And in another way to understanding, when we read a book, we are extending our mind into this space. So our mind is not only focused into ourselves. When we create conversation, we don't have a focus into myself purely. What we are doing is creating this intersubjective experience of mind in here, right? In the middle, right? And that's beautiful in a way. With conversation and in performance, we are creating even an entity, if we want to think about it, an experience that in a way behaves in a unique way and has a mind by his own. So if we are designing this mind and this experience for people to watch it, we need to set what I want this mind to think, what I want to communicate, right? In one line, maybe and I use this constant exercise of creating mottos, right? So as a way of self-knowledge for people, right? What is your motto in life, right? One line. What do you want to communicate with your life? Wow, boom, right? Or another exercise. Write your 7 more powerful words in your life. Wow, 7 powerful words. So now I can, right? I can observe my life as a person or as a mystery performer and say, okay, so I care about telepathy. I care about connection. I care about fun and a great fun or whatever, right? Because if we observe deeper, we understand in deeper ways, and we don't need to buy the latest gimmick or the latest technique that it will finally do the same as the old technique, but because it's new, we assume that it will be better, right? No.
Right.
And if you want, go for it, buy it, and yeah, use your money if you want, but you don't need it. What you need is observe first in yourself to understand what do you want to communicate, why are you using this opportunity that mentalism gives you, and use it as a channel of communication. And in a way, we transcend mentalism and we go to paramentalism. In paramentalism, we are understanding that mentalism is not the goal, but is the mean to a bigger goal that is also inside of mentalism, but it's good to separate it, right? It's good to separate it, to understand it as a new possibility, right? So I think that we have so many beautiful technologies and techniques and creators and performers that teaches us how to engage people, how to be entertaining, how to connect with their own humor, right? But at the end, the goal is mystery. The goal is to make the mind shine and share the potential of the individual exploration of the mind and go for it and connect better with people, right? And that's in a way so commercial. If anyone watching this thinks that this is only artistic or only non-profitable or whatever, it's so commercial.
Right.
You can do lectures for companies and you can say, for example, read the mind of your client, right? 5 keys to read the mind of your client. And then obviously you don't teach mentalism, but you teach the principles, right?
You teach genuine principles and highlight them, make them entertaining to listen to, using the art of mentalism.
Exactly
right.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like you said, it translates. Mentalists very often translate into motivational speakers and that category because it's a very smooth transition once you understand genuine mentalism. And that comes largely from introspection, but also from observing others. And if you have genuine mental skills, uncommon only because that this person, this could be anyone, takes the time to acknowledge them and develop them, these are not just, gifts that are randomly sprinkled among. This is the gift of the human mind. So I think it translates very well to any career. You can, like you said, you can be a motivational speaker for any group of people using the skills of mentalism, the theater, to highlight the concepts of the power of the mind to achieve and manifest whatever it is that we want in life. I did a virtual show for a group of nurses and other healthcare workers that I know, just as a thank you. And they're mostly people that I know, but they, it wasn't about reading minds or anything like that. And we had a lot of fun. I wanted them to escape and just have fun, laughing at each other, things that we learned about each other and so forth. Just the good fun that people can have when they get together. But at the same time, it was customized so that, they understood, maybe not consciously, that it is, the intention behind an act can create this web of all these consequences that happen, to remind them of the particular impact that they have at this moment. But that's translatable truly to any profession. And I mean, even if you're you sell paper for Dunder Mifflin, paper can contain the most moving words ever written, words that will make someone weep with the revelation of what's been missing in their life. It's this blank canvas. So it can be anything. It's only boring if we say it is. Everything is the frame that's put around it.
Yeah.
I forget which famous artist said it, but the frame is the most important part of the artwork.
Yeah. And in a way, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So a paper is just a paper for some person, but for other person is the piece in which we can express colorful expressions and emotions, right? A painter, right? Or a poet, a new way to observe reality through the beauty of poetry. And we can write some words, right? And what is fascinating is that we sometimes forget the language is magic in the true sense, because in a way, what is the difference, the core difference between normal animals and human beings is the use of complex language, and this magical thing in which I am saying some sounds, some noises, and you are getting, in a way, my mind, right? Yes. That's mystery, that's magic, that's telepathy in a way, right? And
absolutely.
Right, empathy is another way of telepathy, and a very, very close one, and I am writing a book about that for performance, about empathy. How can we observe empathy as a technique, as a skill to develop, so we don't need to improve too much in our mechanical duties, because maybe we don't need that. Maybe in order to improve, we need to focus into the emotional aspects. And mentalism has this tendency of over-rationalization in all different and particular ways, but one of them is that we think that the mind is here, right? Mentalism is about the head, it's about the brain,
right?
That in a physical, materialistic view, yes, and at the same time very reduced, but because pragmatically it's not like that. The mind is not in here, right? The mind, in a way, is everything, is consciousness, is our perception, is our feelings. And when I asked you at the beginning, who is Elias? You didn't tell me, okay, I have how many years and my hair is brown and I have a little beard. No, you start to talk about metaphysics, no physics. So, right? So reality in the true sense is not about what we touch, it's what we feel, right?
Yes.
It's not the words that are written, it's the words that are understood, right? In my mind, as the Buddha says, right? So, if we open to these notions, we realize that there's so much more that we can do, but not in the same area. We need to change the focus a little bit, right? And little by little, and to go into more profound and interesting and complex conversations, and understanding that we can go deeper, and at the same time, we can go deeper and fun. right? We can have a great time. This is not a synonym of, okay, start to read books that I don't like. No, study whatever you like. Be curious
Mhm.
and allow those curiosities to influence yourself. So, my friend, as this conversation goes like an hour, is fantastic how time dissolves. If
It does. It does.
yeah, if we want to do like an alchemical transformation, because a conversation can feel like air, right? Inspiration, insights, a blow, right? But let's do some alchemy and let's transform that into earth. So I ask you, please share with us a practical idea, an action, and habit that we can take in order to embrace mentalism in a mysterious way and in a deeper way.
Okay. I would say find what brings out that feeling within yourself. Observe in your life moments that have happened or moments that do happen where you find yourself enthralled, where everything else seems to go away. And this can be about any topic. I have my own topics of interest that bleed into my performance. But whatever your topic of interest, it can be music, it can be movies, it can be anything, literally anything. Whatever you just can't get enough of. Find a way to talk about those things and the surrounding reasons why they make you feel that way. And think of first and foremost about the shared mind state. Like you said, we create this shared mind. What you want that to be like, the experience to be like, and then go to the toolbox and look at and say, which one is going to give me the best version of that thing I pictured? Because if we are to be true wizards, and we are, and we can be, a wizard doesn't say, I know how to do this, let me go find people to watch me do it. They have tools and they live in that moment. And most importantly, I would say, after going internal and knowing what enthralls us, remember that once we discover that, it no longer matters. Because that now can translate subconsciously, as you said, if we do proper rehearsal and practice and all that thoughtfulness. You know, like my father did all that thoughtfulness before I came down, and it came down to 3 seconds. But it was that thoughtfulness that mattered. But once we do that, we must let it go, and we must remember that it is the people we're sharing that mind with. It is their experience that will ultimately be the reality. And we get to decide truly, freely, at any level, what that will be. So I think that idea that I would just say, question your constraints. You can achieve anything you can conceive. So think about, first and foremost, not what you're capable of doing with your hands or your head, because that's both two different kinds of dexterity that are wonderful, and I love all forms of them. But why? You know, and think first what you want to achieve, and then how to achieve it. It's so easy to get the two reversed.
Beautiful. Yes. Thank you very much for your time, for your mind, for your love, my friend. Stay healthy for your loved ones and yourself. And anything that you need, always, just let me know, and I am here for you.
Likewise, and thank you so much. It's truly been a pleasure sharing the time and the space with you, and everybody else who's going to join us in the through the illusion of time. And I hope you and your family, your loved ones, stay safe and healthy, and we'll continue this spiraling conversation down the road.
That's the idea. Always this spiral. Bye, my friend.
My brother.